And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to talk about, we'll take a step away from the draft stuff. We'll talk about A.J. Brown getting a contract extension with the Eagles. So he agreed to a 3-year, $96 million extension with the Eagles, making him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. The deal includes $84 million guaranteed. Also, the highest contract for any receiver, like I just said. So this will keep him through the 2029 season with the Eagles. Brown was acquired by the Eagles during the NFL draft a couple years ago with the Titans, which Mike Vrabel was not happy about. We know that, and now things have changed with the Titans, and now they're trying to rewrite the wrong, and that's why they brought in Calvin Ridley, and also like they signed DeAndre Hopkins as well last offseason. So yeah, that was not a good move on the Titans' part. Brown has been a big part of the Eagles, part of that team that made it to the Super Bowl back in 2022. In 2 seasons with the Eagles, he has caught 194 passes, 2,952 receiving yards, and 18 touchdowns in 34 games. He earned 2 second-team All-Pro selections and Pro Bowl nods during his time with the Eagles. And yeah, there was some frustration there, but he stays. He's going to be staying with the Eagles. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good move. I know that some interesting thing with him is that he changed his profile picture to, I think he changed it to Tom Brady. So there was some rumors that the Patriots are inquiring about him, but the Eagles said no, we're keeping him. So they signed him. They signed Devontae Smith to a new contract. The offense, I know that some offensive linemen got new deals as well. So the Eagles still got their core together. I know they gave Saquon Barkley big money this offseason as well. So yeah, I don't really have any complaints there. I mean, A.J. Brown has really has helped out Jalen Hurts. Because that was a position they needed. And they ended up trading for him, and that really has panned out. Because if you look at now, I know 2023, the interceptions were way up for Jalen Hurts. He went from 6 interceptions in 2022 to 15 in 2023. But I mean, actually, yeah. I mean, when you look at Hurts' numbers, it's touchdowns to interception ratio. Like 2021, he only had 16 touchdowns and 9 picks. Now he did have a lot of rushing touchdowns. Actually, yeah. How many rushing touchdowns did he have in each of his seasons? So 2021, he had 10 rushing touchdowns. 2022, he had 13. 2023, he had 15. Because, yeah, when you look at his touchdown-interception ratio, you have 16 to 9 in 2021. 2022, he had 22 touchdowns to 6 picks, and then 23 to 15. 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions last year. So, I mean, again, the numbers... I mean, really from 2022 to 2023, it really wasn't a big jump. The big jump was with the interceptions, going from 6 to 15. That's a big jump. And his QBR was 60.1, which is not good. Now with A.J. Brown, you look at his statistics, and yeah, 1,400, almost 1,500 yards receiving in 2022 with the Eagles. He had 11 touchdowns, and then in 2023, 106 receptions. 2022, he only had 88 receptions, but in 2023, 106 receptions, 1,456 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So, yeah, he has been what the Eagles are hoping for. We're hoping for, and I think again the Eagles I like what they've done this offseason a lot, and I feel like. They are going to they're going to bounce back. They are definitely going to they are going to bounce back, and I as a Giant fan, again, I'm not looking forward to them bouncing back because that means that's going to be at the expense of them. But I mean what the Eagles have done, signing their guys to contracts, making sure they're all good. And, bringing in reinforcements on defense, Bryce Huff, bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Devin White, again, drafting a corner last night. They're trying to revamp this defense because this defense was not good. And again, they're looking to bounce back, and I still think it's going to come down to them and Dallas for the division. The Commanders and the Giants are, trying to. Well, the Commander, yeah, they're both rebuilding. The Giants, right now, the quarterback situation is still not good. Even if Daniel Jones is healthy, I don't think the Giants are going to win many games in 2024. But I could be wrong. Because if Daniel Jones can bounce back and maybe be the Daniel Jones that he was, back in 2022, when the Giants were a playoff team, then okay, maybe the Giants, have a chance. And I like their shots at, I like their chances of being competitive against the Eagles as opposed to Dallas, because the last time the Giants beat Dallas, we were in a global pandemic. So, right? I just want to fact check myself really. Yeah, that sounds about right. It sounds about right to me. I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, yeah, it was the global pandemic because it was the final week of the regular season and Andy Dalton was starting. Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me there. But yeah, but I think I think it's the Eagles and the Dallas and the Cowboys. That's what this division is going to come down to until the Commanders and the Giants really build themselves back up. Again, I think the Giants are closer than the Commanders are, even though the Commanders drafted their quarterback, because the Giants right now don't have their quarterback of the future. Again, love what they did picking Malik Neighbors because, again, that was a position of need. And you know what? Here's the thing. Because I was listening to some sports radio before I came on here on the East Coast. And I don't understand what the outrage, some of the outrages over the Giants taking a receiver instead of a quarterback, when maybe they didn't love the quarterbacks that they had. And if they wanted to trade up to get Drake May, who apparently they really like too, they'd have to give up a significant amount of capital to get him. And maybe they weren't willing to do that. So what? They have to just take a quarterback just to take a quarterback? You want to do what the Falcons did? The Falcons really liked Penix, but Penix could have been a guy they could have got. Well, again, I don't really know because, like I said, there's other team. I think there were other teams that were potentially interested in him, but again, you don't want to be reckless and just take a player just because that's a position of need. You want to you want to do your homework and make sure that he is the guy. And Joe Shane did say that you guys all just assume that I'm going to take a quarterback. We're going to take a quarterback at 6. So that little quote right there could have been an indication of, well, maybe they might not take a quarterback. Maybe they won't take a quarterback here. But then when you have J.J. McCarthy saying, I think I'm going to the Giants, well, yeah, that's then that's a problem. For some people that didn't want him. Again, I wasn't going to go crazy if they did end up taking J.J. McCarthy, but I thought what the Giants did was the right move. I thought taking a receiver was the right move because that was a position of need, and you know what? Maybe you didn't like the quarterbacks that were there. That's probably what it was. It's like, you know what? We like these guys, but we don't like them that much. We're going to take the best player available at a position that we really need some help in, and that's what they did. Now, again, you could say, well, how does that help the Giants in 2024? Is that going to make them competitive? Because who's going to be throwing them the ball? Okay. But for me, I kind of trust Joe Shane. I trust Joe Shane and Brian Dable. I think they're going to get it right. Whether it's next year, I think they are. I think they're building something. Which, again, Giant fans, it's been a long time. So that's my thoughts on that. But I just wanted to bring that up. Because again, yes, they don't have the quarterback of the future on the team, but you don't want to just take a quarterback just to take one. I know I said, well, it's either going to be a quarterback or a receiver, because if they really like one of the quarterbacks, they're going to take him. And it seemed like they really liked J.J. McCarthy, so they were going to take him. But that didn't happen. They took a receiver, which is what they need. And now you got a receiving core of Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Jalen Hyatt, which is a young receiving core. And I think we're starting to get somewhere with that. Again, they still got some work. Oops, I knocked out my earpiece. They still got some work they got to do, of course. And there's other teams that have to do the same thing. We'll see if the Falcons can bounce back after, with what they did last night. But it was an interesting draft. It was an interesting draft. And listen, we got 2 more days of it. We got tonight, rounds 2 through 3. And I said the draft was starting at 7:30. That's because I was looking at the schedule of my other job, because the broadcast of the NFL draft was going to start at that time. Because it was probably like the pre-show beforehand, and then the draft started at 8, which I forgot. But again, I mean, like, there were teams that would just take too long, and again, it's really just become this big event, the draft. I mean, it always was big, but like I feel like now it's just like it really has been. It's even bigger than it ever has been. I mean, you got like it's in Detroit, and it's like a concert you're at, and then you got like all the Lions players coming out and chanting for Jared Goff. Yeah, there was a Lions jersey last night. It was it said Goaty Goffington on the back. If you saw that, you know what I'm talking about. But I thought that was funny. Goaty Goffington. Well, I mean, listen, Lions fans love Goff, and rightfully so. But yeah, that was funny. Goaty Goffington. That might be. I got to make sure not to forget that, because that's going to be someone's fantasy team. Well, I don't know if it's going to be maybe in one of my leagues, but Goaty Goffington is going to make an appearance in one of my fantasy leagues. Team name wise, next year. But you also got to draft Goff too. If you don't draft Goff, then what's the point? So, well, maybe in my 2 QB league, I'll draft Goff, because he's going to have a good year next year. You would imagine. So. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the show for today. Again, we covered a lot with the draft. Again, we had some interesting things that happened last night. And again, we still got 2 more nights of this stuff, so it's going to be really interesting to see what ends up happening. Really looking forward to the next 2 days. We'll be paying close attention to all that. And yeah, so that is that's it for me for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be back again on Monday. So we'll recap what the rest of everybody's picks were. And so I hope everybody has a good weekend. And so with that is all the time that we have for today. My camera just turned off, but we're closing out anyways. So yeah, like I always say, make sure to give the other shows some love. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will see you guys hopefully next time. Take care.